Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the A side. I'm your host Riley, and I'm starting to like this Harry Styles fella quite a bit. Um, I always had a hunch that he was the talented member of One Direction, but I took some time today, and I did a little bit of listening around, listened to some of the other members' solo work. Some of it pretty few and far between, and I gotta say, my assessment was correct. Harry is, in fact, the most talented song holds up. But I ended up throwing on Made in the AM and listened to the first couple of songs off that. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I, at some point, might take a deep dive into the rest of the One Direction solo work, like rank all of them from worst to best, because I'm very fascinated, even though it's kind of outside my normal sphere of what I would listen to. I am definitely very fascinated by it. And that leads us to Harry Styles, and specifically part 2 of this video, reacting to Harry's House. It's been a while since part 1, mostly because part 1 got claimed and killed all the momentum it got, so nobody saw that video, and I never got around to making part 2. And at first I was kind of meh on the album. I enjoyed it in the reaction, but afterward, I was like, I don't really care. And then coming back to it, I got an itch to listen to it, and I've listened to the first half of this record quite a bit, and have pretty strong opinions on it. I think this is one of the better mainstream pop albums I've heard in a really long time, at least based on the first half. So let me give you my quick rundown of my thoughts on the song so far. I don't like music for a sushi restaurant at all. I think it is too loud and too in your face. It sounds so plasticized. And a lot of people have made fun of it for being like Gap, clothes commercial, Old Navy core. And it definitely is. I could see that over like an Apple commercial or like a jeans commercial. And I think Little Freak is far too meandering for my enjoyment. But besides that, I like the rest of what I've heard. Grape Juice is this really quaint, interesting song reminiscent of like a modern update of like a 70s AM sound. Daylight, the whole record just has a very sweet sound to it. I think you can definitely hear it on Daylight. It has this really cool synth line, and when it gets to the chorus, it kind of gets a little heavier and harder hitting. Late Night Talking is a great pop song with some really awesome melodies on it, and as it was, it's just a complete heartbreaker. It's been my go-to song of choice for disassociating lately. I've been listening to it a lot. So that's my thoughts on the first half of this record. I think it's pretty solid. So here we are now, finally reacting to the second half of it. It's been long enough. But if you are new around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. And you can always unsubscribe later if you want. And leave a like if you want to see me talk about more One Direction stuff. Yeah. Anyway, let's listen to it. Track 7, Matilda. Really pretty guitar work, actually. I really like the doo-doo. The, like, plucked sound. I can pull up the lyrics for this bitch.
You were riding your bike to the sound of It's No Big Deal, and you're trying to lift.
I think the guitar in this song is really pretty.
Nothing about the way that you were treated ever seemed especially alarming till now.
The song is really pretty.
So you tie up your
just in general.
And you smile like it's no big deal. You can let it go. You can throw
okay. This is gonna be way, way, way off base, and you're all gonna be like, Riley, what the fuck are you talking about? But that little guitar part, the blue right there where it's like hand plucked, it kind of reminds me of Brand New a little bit. I'm not saying it sounds a lot like Brand New, just that little guitar part is pretty reminiscent of something I would enjoy from what might be my favorite band of all time.
Not invite your family cause they never showed you love. Don't have to be sorry.
This is like an Ed Sheeran song, but done right. If Ed Sheeran was like interesting and relatable.
Matilda, you talk of the pain like it's all alright. But I know that you feel like a piece of you's dead inside.
Matilda, you talk of the pain like it's alright, but I know that you feel like it's a piece of you is dead inside. Harry Styles is calling me out directly right now, and I'm not a fan of that.
You showed me a power that is strong enough to bring sun to the darkest days. It's none of my business, but it's just been all go. You can throw a party full of everyone you know. You can start a family who will always show you love. You don't have to be sorry for doing it on your own.
This is a really sweet and pretty song.
You can let it go. You can throw
You know, I'm not always too crazy on, like, these slower pop ballads. But I think it seems really genuine and really sweet. And is very just pretty sounding, using more real instrumentation and some really nice acoustic guitar work. Oh, it still has a couple seconds left to fade out. Yeah, you know, usually I wouldn't be huge on a song like this. It's of my opinion, a lot of the time, that the more ballady, slower songs kill the momentum of pop albums. Even pop albums I like. Take a look at Emotion. You got some bangers on Emotion, but I think the slower songs kind of kill the momentum. Or even Dedicated. Carly Rae Jepsen's the first thing that's coming to mind. But you get what I'm trying to say. I think pop is at its best when it's usually more bubbly. But I think this works really well here. Really pretty guitar, really just sweet lyrics, a nice sound. I think Harry did good on this one. So, we all know how I tend to rate music here. I gotta think of something better at some point, but if I like a song, I give it a little green folder. If I dislike it, I give it a red. And if I think it's meh, I give it the black GameCube controller. I like that song. Like I said, it was pretty. It was sweet. I give Matilda the green. If you're feeling down, I just wanna make you happier, babe. Alright, next song on our album. Cinema.
You got the cinema.
Pretty smooth bass line.
It's you. And I'm not getting over it.
This has like a chill yet cool, like, rainy day and sunglasses vibe.
I'm stopping when it comes to this.
Oh, lyrics.
I guess we're in time.
Oh, that synth pad's really pretty.
Getting yourself wet for me.
I also... Ugh. So I like that vocal on it. I guess we're in time. If you're getting yourself wet for me is not a lyric that works. Okay, I don't like when lyrics are so fucking on the nose and overtly sexual in nature. It just makes me feel like kind of uncomfortable. Like I wouldn't want to play this in public. I tend to like a little more creativity in class when we're talking about that kind of stuff, even when it comes to artists I really like Kanye. One of my least favorite Kanye songs is I'm In It, because it's just so in your face. And that's the guy who wrote the line, "You ever had sex from a pharaoh, put the pussy in the sarcophagus." And I think even for him, I'm In It is like, oh, Kanye, settle down, boy. If you're getting yourself wet for it, just really caught me off guard, because this whole album's been kind of really sweet so far, and this song has like a really cool, like, low-key vibe. So I guess maybe it's like a romancing, like, you know, trying to seduce vibe, but it really caught me off guard.
I just think you're cool. I dig your cinema.
Oh, that subtle guitar groove.
Do you think I'm cool too? Or am I too into you? Tell me what you want and you got it all. I wanna give me all you got, that cinema.
Oh, the vocal layering paired with the very, like, subtle string work there.
Don't know why, but it
That was a really gorgeous part. It had a nice, like, swingy rhythm to it, too. But the bass is so cool in this song. This whole song has such a cool, like, funk and groove to it. From the bass to the subtle, like, groovy guitars. It almost kind of reminds me of this 1975. Fuck, dude, the bass here is thick. I don't know even about thick, it's just really... It goes, dude. The bass work has been excellent on this song. That song was really good. Man, those bass grooves throughout the whole thing, excellent work, and a lot of the vocal layering was neat as well. Man, you know, Harry Styles is a very, very talented guy, isn't he? I'm gonna have to... I was listening to Sign of the Times before I recorded this video as well, and I'm like, fuck. Even on his first record, he was, like, doing something so above and beyond what I feel like he could have done. Whereas I feel like when you take a look at what the rest of One Direction did, I mean, trying to think of their names off the top of my head. Like, Zayn and, Liam tried to do, like, the Disney adult thing, former Disney child star thing, where they try to go in, like, this direction where, like, look at me, I'm so adult and sexy, and, oh, pillow talk, and making a song for the, 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack, and fucking strip it down for me, baby girl. And then you've got, like, Niall and, Louis kind of just doing, like, early One Direction, like, appealing to teenage girls, like, not even preteen girls kind of thing. Whereas I feel like Harry, with Sign of the Times, that specific song, he really burst on the scene with something kind of unique, being more inspired by, like, a classic rock sound. And I think part of that is just the fact he's a really good songwriter, and he's not trying too hard to be one thing, like Zayn or Liam were, although Pillow Talk holds up, fight me. And he's not just trying to ride the coattails of success like Niall and Louis. And that's, of course, very basic generalizations from what little I've heard of each of those artists. But then when I come and look at Harry Styles, his music just seems very genuine and real, and like what he really wants to do, and a progression as an artist. And he's got a lot of respect for me for that. And cinema shows him taking his sound in a different direction and doing something else. And I give it the green. You know, this album's gonna probably end up pretty high on my album of the year list. I'm gonna piss a lot of purists off, but I don't give a fuck. Next song, Daydreaming, is probably not gonna be as good as the Paramore song. Okay, already sounds like it's gonna go. Oh, the bass again. Oh my god. And I really like his vocals. This whole record has a really interesting vibe to it. A very kind of sweet and relaxed and kind of calm vibe, where you just feel like you can just lay back and listen to it and just relax and just let it all out and just, you know, vibe for a little bit. This whole record has that kind of vibe to me. You know, it's not like bangers, but it's like more, you know, you just listen to it and you're like, yeah, this is good. And it's all, it has this really, like I said, sweet. I don't want to say intimate, because intimate to me, when I say intimate, makes me think of something like Elliott Smith, where it like feels like you're in the room there with him. I don't really know how to describe the vibe of this record. It feels very kind of nighttime or rainy day, just relaxing. It's a very sweet, relaxing album. Except for fucking music for a sushi restaurant, which is everything that's like the opposite. It's the antithesis of what the rest of this album has sounded like. But just kind of groovy, vibey songs. Once again, I feel like this is bringing like a kind of a 70s R&B sound to life, especially with like the horns. Or those keys are so like blissful. And the harmonies, man. This is a nice outro. This album has had a very, very organic sound to it, and I appreciate that. Not like organic in the same way like how the new Panic album was all like recorded on analog, but especially in the second half. I mean, of course, not like Daylight or Late Night Talking. But I mean, Cinema filled out with bass and guitar, and this song, of course, Daydreaming, had some like nice drumming on it. Once again, the bass and piano work. I mean, As It Was has like the propulsion of a rock song to it. Where I wouldn't say it's a rock song, but it has a similar drive to it. Matilda, of course, was a acoustic guitar piano ballad. So just a interesting observation. I'm gonna give Daydreaming the green. I was right. It's not as good as Paramore's Daydreaming, which might be my favorite Paramore song. But that's way off base. I don't know. I shouldn't be. I always want to talk about Paramore though. Any excuse to talk about Paramore. Yeah. I really like this album. Track 10, Keep Driving. I, however, do not like that drum sound. I like the swirling melodies. Black and white film camera. I like that. The whole song kind of has a swirling propulsion to it, though. Like the synths there. This one sounds very 1975. Especially those, like, synthy keys in the background there. This is very, very much reminds me of I Like It When You Sleep. Almost a little like maybe Paris. I'm getting a big Paris vibe. I really like the way he describes this relationship. Maple syrup, coffee, pancake for two, hash brown, egg yolk, I will always love you. It's a very quaint yet very realistic picture of what a relationship is like. It brings you to like a small picturesque town having breakfast at a cafe on a lake somewhere. Kind of the true joys of life, really, just being with the person you love, and this really kind of simple idea of just two people having breakfast together, bonding. I really like the way he describes that in such a quaint yet effective way. Oh, that's like a interesting distortion sound. I want to say one thing about this part here, though. Passports and footwells, kiss her and don't tell. Okay, whatever. But then we get to wine glass, puff past tea with cyborgs, riot, America, science and edibles, life hacks going viral in the bathroom, cocaine, side boob, choker with a seafood, toothache, bad move. He already did this, where he lists out a bunch of things. He did that on As It Was. I thought it was cool there, the kind of we didn't start the fire kind of thing. But here it just kind of seems like, oh, you're doing this again. I kind of like that droning distortion there, though. It's interesting. Okay, you know what? Never mind. I get it now. The song is him thinking about all these things in a relationship. He's with this girl, thinking like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? What should I do here? So, thinking about all the possible things, all these things rushing to his head, and then he just lands on, do you want to just keep driving? You know, as long as I'm here with you, take the simple choice. Should we just keep driving instead of all these things rushing to his head? Okay, I get it. I don't know if I explained why I got it well, but I get it. You know, don't, like I said, don't worry about all these things as long as it's just you and I. This album's so sweet. It's gonna give me fucking diabetes, I swear to God. But no, it's really endearing, actually, just how sweet so much of this album is. Even the songs about like pain, like As It Was, or Daylight. You know, You've Got Me Cursing the Daylight. It still has this really like sweet, earnest sentiment to it. Keep Driving gets the green for me. Wow, I really like this album so far. And I'm having a hard time putting it into words, because it's not like it's something like some super complicated fucking thing like Black Midi, or some really deep, complex thing like Kendrick Lamar's album, or like really interesting sonic experimentation like Glitch Princess, or super hard-hitting, emotional post-punk like Ants From Up Here. It's just really resonating with me in such a profound way for being not anything crazy or anything too unique. You know? It's just so good at what it's doing, and such a sweet, just genuine record. So next track, Satellite.
You got a new life. Am I bothering you? Do you wanna talk? We share the last line, then we drink the wall till we wanna talk. I go round and round, satellite, spinning out.
That was fucking gorgeous. That was like, took me to space. It was so dreamy and kind of like psychedelic pop, in the same vein as like Currents by Tame Impala. It just made me feel like I was floating through space past stars and planets. Yeah. Once again, the bass work is really good. Also, Harry's falsetto is great. Ooh. Blurry face? Is that you? 21 Pilots fans will get it. WASD. Only gamers will understand. I really like the backing vocals. Ooh. Oh, some guitar? At least that's what I think it is. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Oh, that synth. Wow. This song's been so well constructed. I feel like every bleep and bloop and synth sound and different instrument that's come in has served its purpose so well and has taken the song from one level to another, and every time a new instrument comes in, the song improves tenfold. It feels like everything was placed at such the right time that it had such a profound effect coming in that you're like, holy fuck. Man, that song was so, interstellar sounding. I'm gonna give Satellite the green. Dude, this album is really good. And people are gonna discredit it immediately because it's popular with teenage girls, you know. But I don't think that's fair. I mean, the Beatles were popular with teenage girls, and now they're, they made the fucking White Album. Sgt. Pepper's Only Hearts Club Band. If we were to act like that back then, and fucking disregard a record like Rubber Soul because, girls liked it, or Revolver, we can point at something like As It Was and be like, oh, that's shite because, it's for wee girls or whatever. When in reality, fucking bands that used to be for girls in the 60s made songs like I'm Only Sleeping and Eleanor Rigby. So don't be so quick to discredit Harry Styles, because I think he has a lot of talent and probably even more potential. Oh, this record's really impressed me so far. I've disliked 2 of the 11 songs I've heard. Yet there are still 2 more songs left, and this next one is the least streamed song on the album, actually. This is Boyfriends, the least streamed song on the record. Oh, I can see why. It's got a little bit of experimentation with backwards recording.
So easy. They take you for granted.
Honk shoe, honk shoe.
They don't know.
Are you more of a honk shoe or a me kind of guy? Leave your answer in the comment below.
You're back at it again.
It's mid. It's mid. Mid. No, this song's pretty boring. I mean, there's a reason it's the least streamed song. I mean, it's just kind of filler. It's there. It's just there. I didn't hate it. It was just there. I'll give Boyfriends the black GameCube controller. I mean, I don't have much to say about it other than that. It just felt there. It was just very basic and bland, but it's the only fucking song on this album to not reach 100 million streams. I let that speak for itself, because Harry Styles fans are pretty diehard. I mean, I almost said One Republic. I still need to do that video. One Direction was fucking huge back in the day, and the only one who's really maintained any relevance is Harry Styles. So that speaks to his talent versus the rest of the band. Anyway, Love of My Life. Final song. Are those Moog synthesizers? Hold the fuck up. They might be. They sound like Moog synths. If you know what Moog synths are, they were like the very original synthesizer that they used in like the 60s and 70s. They have this really specific, like, warm, buzzy sound. If you want to understand what I'm talking about, listen to the 1977 album, The Beach Boys Love You? Which is almost made based solely off of Moog synthesizers. One of the first albums to do so. 1977. It has that warm, buzzy kind of Moog sound to it. Now, there's a very good chance that it is just like a programmed synth sound or a modern synth programmed to sound like a Moog, but that's very interesting. That's not a sound I hear often on a modern song. I just had the fucking nerdiest moment of my life, and you're all gonna let me get away with that? This is why I ain't got no bitches. I just freaked out because I thought I heard a Moog. And you watched it! That's the worst part about it. Is you stayed to watch it. This says a lot about our society. I'm such a fucking idiot. It's not what I wanted to leave you behind. Don't know where you land when you fly, but baby, you were the love of my life. So, I was pretty mad on that song too. Love My Life Gets a Black GameCube controller. It's a really basic love song. Apart from those buzzy Moog-esque synths, which I was big fan of, the rest of the song was just kind of there. But that being said, man, for like 4 out of 13 songs I didn't like, for like a modern mainstream pop album, is really fucking impressive. I mean, I'm gonna look through, like, let's look through some of the albums I have saved that I, like, listen to, right? I'm not seeing any pop, like, mainstream pop records in the last couple of years. Like, unless you want to count, like, After Hours, which I honestly think this is better than After Hours. Like, it's all, like, experimental hip-hop, like, we got Death Grips and, like, Vampire Weekend, Brand New, Panic at the Disco, Newfound Glory, Kate Bush, 4 Years Strong, Be Well, Kendrick Lamar, Wednesday, Joy Division, Blade. Like, I mean, I have 1989 saved, but even that was like 2013, wasn't it? 2014. That was a long time ago. That's probably, besides Harry's House, like the newest like mainstream pop album I come back to often. Because it's not always a great genre. I mean, occasionally there are great pop songs, but I can't think of an album I've heard recently that I think, oh my god, that I think holds up this good, right? So, yeah, I'm impressed. I mean, as it was, Daylight, um, Late Night Talking, Cinema, Daydreaming, Keep Driving, Satellite. Oh, very, very, very good songs. And Matilda and Grape Juice are both pretty good. I did not like Music for a Sushi Restaurant, Matilda. I didn't like and Little Freak. I did not like those songs. And then Boyfriends and Love of My Life were kind of meh. I think this could have been a pretty solid, like, 10-track album. I'm going to give it like an 8. I really liked it. It was just so genuine and so real, and it had this sweet, sweet sentiment and sound to it. And I think Harry Styles is one of the more promising mainstream pop stars and one of the more promising musicians in general to come out of the last few years. I'm definitely going to listen to Fine Line, and I think his other record might be self-titled. Let me take a look. It is. So I'm definitely going to listen to those two records eventually. Yeah, this was definitely a highlight of the year for me, honestly. It took me a while to get to the end of it, but I'm glad I did. Anyway, let me know what you think of this and Harry Styles, and even, like, kind of just the One Direction multiverse, the One Direction cinematic universe as a whole. Leave that in the comments below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.